Today I was riding around the truck at work, and we was driving. I started thinking about this dude. There was two men that died with Jesus, that were crucified with Jesus. There were two thieves. One repented and the other didn't repent. One was saved and the other wasn't saved. And I was thinking about the one that was saved. And I was thinking about his mentality. And I was putting myself in his perspective. And I was thinking about, what if I was in his shoes? How would I have handled the situation? And as I was thinking about this man and his mentality, I started coming up with this poem, In His Shoes. And I called the poem, Yet He Still Believed. And it goes like this. It was the worst day of his life, the worst pain he had ever felt or thought he could ever endure. And yet he still believed. On that day, he hung nailed to a cross next to Jesus on Jesus' worst day, at his weakest moment, and yet he still believed. He saw Jesus stripped of all his glory and bearing all his shame, our shame. Yet this man, he still believed. This man probably never witnessed a single miracle Jesus had done. Perhaps he had only heard, and yet he still believed. He saw Jesus without the miracles, without the transfiguration, without the powerful sermons or the signs or the prophecies. He didn't see him casting out demons or turning water into wine or walking on water or rebuking the wind and rain. He saw the Son of God broken, bleeding as any other man, full of weakness, full of sorrow, and on his very worst day. And yet this man, he still believed. For all he knew, God had abandoned him. And this was his lot in life, his recompense for all his sin and wickedness. And yet he still believed. Jesus had been rejected by his own people. His own disciples had fled. Any other man would have seen Jesus as a debunked false prophet. Yet this man still believed. Jesus didn't free him from the cross when he asked him. He didn't free him from his trial. Time had passed, and they both still hung there, clinging to the last moments of life. Yet this man still believed. Seeing what this man has done, what excuse do we have before God for not believing? What excuse do we have for giving up on the hope that God will save us? Thinking God's given up on us, seeing that God had so much mercy on this man to his very last breath. God was with him right next to him, going through it with him right next to him in the flesh. He was with him. And he saved them because he still believed.